What's up, y'all? This is Reggie, aka Speeding Bullet, with my co-host B, 3 exclamation points, bringing you the political perspective.
Savvy enough to hear certain things and not automatically be acting.
Elon Musk kind of like snapped on.
This is like 3 more seasons of Landman right here. Just
Yeah, definitely. Where the natural resources are ransacked, and these countries are normally not better after the United States comes over there and just starts trashing their country. And always remember, if you're not political, you do not have a perspective. Now let's talk some politics. What's up, B? And what's up, our audience? I am Reggie, aka Speeding Bullet. This is B, 3 exclamation points. There's been folks saying that me and Jake have been pronouncing your name incorrectly, so I wanted to make sure that I sounded it out. Exclamation points. And this is the political perspective. Always know, if you are not political, you do not have a perspective. So
I was thinking about changing it to Be the Realist off the Ox comments. I might change it to be the Realist.
I like that. So obviously, we are still at war with Iran. That's kind of always going to be the number one topic because it affects so much of us domestically and internationally. But the conflict is still ongoing. 5 months in, started in February. And just when we think that it's going to be dying down and there's going to be some negotiation, we have, just more fighting, more threatening, there's more missiles. Donald Trump with more threats of ending Iran's civilization and then saying, well, let's talk. But it doesn't appear to be much progress anywhere with the war. One thing that did happen recently, what happened today, was Egypt was struck by a missile from Iran. I believe it was a drone attack from Iran.
Mm-hmm.
That is a new kind of development in this war, and a new country that has been attacked by Iran. So I have a question for you, B. So how many countries do you think have been involved in this war with Iran so far?
Since we started. I want to say I don't think it's been many, right? It can't be, right? Like 6, 7? 6. No, the kid's 6, 7. 6 or 7.
So the answer is 11.
Okay.
So 11 countries have been involved in this war in Iran. And it's interesting when we think about like conflicts in the Middle East, and almost like the old saying, peace in the Middle East, right? That these Middle Eastern conflicts never are just limited to one country.
Right.
So we have Israel, the U.S., and obviously Iran. But we have Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and now Egypt.
I've heard all these names. I didn't think about it, but once you said them, I was like, yeah, I've heard all these names.
Yes, all of these countries have been directly struck by Iranian either missiles or drones. And that's not to mention the other countries that have been involved in the war. So you have Lebanon, who has been involved in fighting with Israel in retaliation for Israel, fighting against Iran. So you have Lebanon, and then you also have Yemen, who, as a supporter of Iran, has been fighting with Egypt and have created kind of a second type of embargo of the strait that runs by Yemen. So you got the Strait of Hormuz, you got the strait that runs by Yemen. So now both of these straits, which are oil tanker and transport routes, are now in the middle of the conflict. So, this Middle Eastern war has just affected, so many countries. And it just made me think, like, we as Americans have a very kind of privileged, some countries are privileged because of geography, but we are very privileged in our geography. I can't imagine, living in any of these countries and have to, go through bomb prep procedures, sirens going off, missiles flying, could hit, civilian places, infrastructure. Like, these places are like, how do you function? Like, how are they able to function just as a country having the threat of bombs and missiles? It's just something that we just don't have a real we don't have a real comparison over here. We got friendly neighbors to the north, friendly neighbors to the south, and we just don't really have that type of factor. It's just something that I think is just interesting. Next thing I want to talk about, is Trump met with a couple world leaders today. He met with well, not today, but this week he met with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, person that most people feel like got us into the war with Iran. It was a meeting that was closed to the press, which is actually unprecedented. I mean, normally Trump is very kind of open about these meetings that he has with these world leaders. A lot of times it's so he can kind of like talk shit to them.
For sure.
And the reports say the last time Trump and Netanyahu met, that Trump was kind of giving him a lot of ultimatums about how he was conducting the war in Gaza, how things were happening with the war in Iran. So this particular meeting, and there were some people that were there to report on some of these things that Trump said to Netanyahu. This particular one was closed door, no press there. So there's no reports yet about what this meeting entailed. I mean, we know that it had to entail what's going on in the Middle East, the Iran Middle East strategy, whatever the regional dynamics with Israel having to fight wars on different fronts and things of that nature. But there is a renewed kind of push for at least Democratic politicians for us not to have this kind of blanket type of support for Israel. And that's something that, like I said, a lot of Democrats, and you even saw it on the campaign trail where Kamala Harris took a lot of heat for her position in support of Israel. But here you have Trump supporting Israel in a war. But that was the meeting that Trump had with Benjamin Netanyahu once again.
Yeah, I saw that he met with him, but like you said, it was closed doors, so I didn't see any information on what was discussed in that meeting at all. So that's just something to keep an eye on. Going back to, the war, I feel like I say it like a broken record, but whenever I see purposeful confusion, I just think about who's getting rich.
Mm-hmm.
This is purposeful confusion, where it's like, oh, we're going to attack this, we're going to attack Iran, and we're going to tear their. It's like, okay, it's just you're saying these things, and then you dial back, and then you say these things, and it's like you're just creating confusion to hide something else that's going on. I say that because recently I drove by one of those Freedom Fuels, and I just looked in disgust, like, yeah, everywhere gas is $4.19, and here Freedom Fuel $3.89. Like, this is off. This is off. Like, but whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely something going on, and I think your assessment that somebody's getting paid because of these conflicts and this confusion, I think is right on target.
Yeah,
right on target. But Trump also met with President Zelenskyy from Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And normally Trump takes these opportunities to kind of talk shit to Zelenskyy. I don't know why.
Oh my God.
Well, we kind of know why, because Zelenskyy kind of refused to open up an investigation to Joe Biden years ago.
Hmm.
I think in 2016, and Trump is always going to have a bone to pick with him.
Always.
So they met, and some of their the takebacks from their meeting was some Patriot missile licensing, where the United States is going to be, Ukraine is going to be producing some Patriot interceptor missiles. So just kind of strengthening that military alliance, and also just some defense contractors met with Zelenskyy to make money. Obviously, defense contractors to make money. But what I thought was interesting is Zelenskyy kind of shared some intelligence reports that alleged Russia has provided Iran with satellite imagery of U.S. bases in the Persian Gulf. And I think that this has been kind of like a theory that has been going around of how does Iran, who is supposed to be, this country that is poor, they sanctioned, they don't have any state of the art weaponry. How are they able to constantly hit on U.S. military targets in the region? And there's been a lot of theories that they're getting a lot of this, a lot of assistance from Russia. So Zelenskyy pretty much confirmed that Russia is providing Iran with these satellite imagery in order to be able to accurately shoot some of the U.S. bases. So that's pretty interesting. But I think that we all know that Trump is not going to do anything to Russia. And it's like, if Russia is supplying Iran with probably more than just images, right? If you know anything about kind of like the map of the Middle East, like Russia and Iran, they both border the Red Sea, so they have a very easy trading route, and that's kind of why they've always kind of been trading partners. They have a very easy trading route that they can trade. Goods and services, oil. One of the reasons how, when Russia has been under all of these sanctions, they're able to move money, move material through Iran and back and forth. But it's just funny, someone like Trump does not take this hardline stance with Russia, but takes a hardline stance with Iran. Even
right.
that Russia is supporting Iran to really kill American military personnel and assets in the region.
I did see the meeting with Zelenskyy, and you provide a lot of information I wasn't aware of. All I saw from what I read about that meeting was about the Patriot missile interceptors. And yes, you do bring up a great point. Like, why that hardline stance with
Vladimir Putin, Russia.
Yes, Putin, Russia, and the stark differences in how things are being handled is noticeable.
Are we afraid of Russia?
I think he's been afraid of Russia since it was weird back when he got elected for that first term. His dealings and meetings with Putin. They did something. They have something. They got something where he's like very demure, as we were saying a couple of years ago, when it comes to Russia.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd that he would have that type of stance towards Russia. Who, I mean, a lot of the complaints about Iran is that they provide support to these proxy like terrorist groups throughout the region. They're groups in Iraq, there are groups in Yemen, there's groups in Lebanon that Iran backs with weapons and money. However, if Russia is backing Iran with weapons and money, what's the difference?
Yeah,
we're talking about the same circle of countries. So I mean, it just makes you wonder, and it makes you kind of feel like, is the only reason why we won't get into a conflict with with a Russia or with a North Korea is because they have nuclear weapons. and they can cause obviously much more damage than a missile drone. But we just have a different type of response, to really the same kind of circle of countries that you would say do not have good intentions. If that's a thing.
Yeah.
Fast forward to SEPTA. I want to go with some Philly, some Philly politics, some Philly news. So SEPTA, we all know SEPTA is always going on strike. But
man, I didn't see this.
So SEPTA always faces just uncertainty.
Yes.
Even though the Pennsylvania state budget was signed, there is some additional funding, but one thing that the state just does not feel comfortable with is having dedicated funding for SEPTA that goes beyond year to year. The state just will not fund SEPTA until SEPTA kind of proves that it is a competent transit system. So there are, obviously concerns that SEPTA is not going to have the funding, come next year. So we'll probably have that on our radar at July of next year. It always happens in July, that there's going to be a possibility of some funding shortages that might result in some, some service disruptions or some
a strike,
or something. However, SEPTA, to its credit, really did a great job during the FIFA World Cup. I mean, some of the estimates say 155,000 riders a day, to each of the matches, which is an unbelievable number, 60% higher than the average Eagles game. So SEPTA, is trying to prove that they are a competent mass transit system and able to move people around the region. However, like I said, there are some budget issues that will have to be decided once July of next year of 2027 comes around.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you. How many trips? And this is a person that pays their fare and goes to a destination. How many trips do you think SEPTA ran just on average every month?
Trips on the train, or just what do you
mean? Just in the Philadelphia region. So trains, buses. I don't know if somebody takes any of the loops down at trains, buses.
So all SEPTA vehicles.
Yes.
How many trips per month?
Yes, per month.
Oh, thousands. I wouldn't even know where to guess. I wouldn't even know where to begin to guess for that number.
It's a high number. It's very high.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's a high number. Thousands across all lines. Let's see. Wait, let me do a quick math. Let's see. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna say about 8,000. 8,000.
8,000. Good guess, but not even close. So 733,000 trips per month.
Yeah.
And the reason why I brought that number up is because I figured most people, including myself, would be totally oblivious to how massive SEPTA is, and how really important, even in what we would consider a time where SEPTA is not probably used at its capacity, that it is responsible for taking people from A to B. And it is an important part of the city's infrastructure.
700,000 trips is crazy
per month. I have another question for you, B. And you might know this. This one might be an easy one, but how much does it cost to get on SEPTA?
Oh, I think the last I saw it was $290 for a bus.
That is exactly right. That's $290. Now, another question I have: what is the average ride share trip cost?
The average ride share trip?
Yeah, somebody catching a Lyft, they are catching a Uber. they are catching a
Well,
anything.
that's okay. So my thought process is the average cost considers all the rides from, so some of course are obviously longer than others, but I'm going to say the average cost is probably $8.
That is close, but the average cost for a rideshare trip is about $19.
Oh wow.
So
Really?
yes, really. And
Wow.
that factors in short distances,
Yeah.
medium distances, long distances.
Yeah.
But the average is around $19. So SEPTA versus rideshare is a very big difference in
Yeah.
what folks will pay in order to to move from A to B. But a lot of the complaints about SEPTA is its comfortability and its safety. But we as people are paying much more, to get picked up, by somebody that drives a Honda Accord and you
Yeah.
know may or may not have air conditioning. But it's very interesting. Last thing I have real quick, B, is some ice news from Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
So we have a Philadelphia resident named Mamadou Fadel Sharif, who originally fled Guinea after being imprisoned by the government for participating in some political protest towards the government. He left, came over to the United States, has lived in the United States legally for two decades. Has obviously established his life in communities. I mean, in the communities of Philadelphia. But ICE has had him in custody for about 2 months and is actively seeking to deport him back to Guinea. Now, the problem with this, now he hasn't committed any crime. He is here under a protected status, which has been revoked by the Trump administration. So yeah, he hasn't committed any crime. He cannot technically be sent back to Guinea because as a part of his as a part of his immigration case, he can't be sent back to the country that he had these issues with, right? Because it would be kind of inhumane, right, to send him back to this country knowing that there could possibly be some danger waiting for him there, right? So he can't really be sent there. So now they are looking at sending him to a random third country. Any guesses what some of these countries would be that they're trying to send him to?
Oh my God. A random third country ICE. Mexico somewhere?
They're trying to send him to either Venezuela or the Sudan, which the Sudan currently is in a civil war.
How do you get to Venezuela and Sudan? But okay.
Right.
How are those the two options?
And it's only just because, these countries are willing to accept people, from the United States. Just drop them off here and we'll, I don't know, put an AR in his hand and make him be in the army or something. I don't know. But it's just an interesting kind of, dynamic, because when we think of ICE, we think of immigration. We normally think of people, from Latin America that have Hispanic descent. That's what we think of. A lot of times we do not think of our African, Caribbean brothers and sisters who have been living in the country for years, has paid taxes, built a home. This guy has, I think he's married. His wife.
Terrible. Yeah.
He's the the sole kind of provider for his for his wife. He has 3 kids that are American citizens. But I just wanted to kind of highlight the actual real life scenarios that ICE is really disrupting people and their lives. And one of the campaign promises from Trump was that ICE was going to be deporting the worst of the worst criminals out there, the ones that are committing crimes, the ones that's causing havoc. But we all know they had a 2,000 a day quota of arrests. And when you have these types of quotas, you tend to arrest
Anybody. Yeah.
And so, this guy's been, in the United States for over 20 years, close to 30 years, and hasn't done anything but been a hard worker and a contributor to society and a contributor to our Social Security benefits, which he'll never have. And just being a part of what people would think of when they think of the American dream.
That's terrible. I don't have New York. That's just a horrible. That's just terrible. Like what? Venezuela or Sudan, you got your kids here, you taking care of your wife. It's like you're doing the thing that America tells you they want you to do, and now you're trying to send this guy somewhere where he has no familiarity with. It's just disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. Well, I hate to leave it on a somber note, but that is the world that we live in, B. So for our listeners and viewers, I am Reggie, aka Speed and Bullet. This is B, the realist. The exclamation points, and always remember, my folks, if you're not political, you do not have a perspective.
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.